Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. It's October 14th. We're doing an intro to river cruises. I know a few in the one-on-one sessions requested and seemed interested in the river cruise market. So again, this is an intro. We might go a little bit over basic, but if you have any more questions or something that you want to do more in-depth or maybe one-on-one, we can discuss. As always, I like to change my background. This is, of course, the Parliament in Budapest that you'll see it if you and when you cruise the Danube, especially at night. It's gorgeous. Let's start at the beginning. River cruises, ocean cruises, the differences between, I know a lot of you know ocean cruises, the difference between ocean cruise and river cruise, well, pretty much the only thing that is similar, you're on water. Everything else is pretty much different. If an ocean cruise line is a resort at sea, river cruise is a boutique property that cruises in mostly Europe, but it's not just Europe, and we'll talk about the destinations. A little bit of familiarity with the product that is out there. It's the similar concept where you have with ocean liners, with levels, we'll call it. You have companies such as AMA Waterways, Scenic, Uniworld, which are, we'll call it top of the line. And then you have other companies like, Avalon, Emerald, Riviera. And then you have, I would say maybe at the bottom of the food chain, maybe Viking. And we'll talk about why we characterize them as, low and high. Technically, everyone provides you a hotel at sea and on the river, and it's the service, the inclusions, the amount of people that are on each ship, and the amount of staff. That's pretty much the main difference with a river cruise. A river cruise tends to be a more expensive product, and most of it because it's an all-inclusive package. The meals, of course, are included in some of the products. Beverages like alcohol, wine, beer are included. For Uniworld, for example, it's included all the time. AMA Waterways, for example, will include it for breakfast. You can get a champagne. Lunch and dinner, you get beer and wine. They also even include they have a happy hour where you can get some cocktails, and it pretty much goes down. So some will not include beverages at all, like Riviera or something like that. But for the most part, basic beverages are included. Some have beverage packages as well, like Viking, for example, which you can add. Also, one of the bigger differences are the excursions. Remember, I said it's an all-inclusive experience. The excursions, the tours, are included for the most part. Well, I say for the most part, with all the river cruise lines, the excursions are included. But for example, with Viking, you will have one or two trips that are included during your stop. With Uniworld, all the tours will be included, while one of them per day will be, I don't know, like the Vienna Opera, like a helicopter ride, like going and cooking at a chef's house. There's going to be some excursions that are going to be premium, that are going to be extra, but for the most part, on AMA, on Uniworld, on the ones that are considered higher end, you will have much more variety in terms of the tours that are included. Some of the things that you will see on most of the river cruises, except for Viking pretty much, and Cruise Europe, you'll see bikes on the ship. It's a really nice trend. You'll see some bikes on the river cruises. You can do a bike tour. Sometimes when the ships don't have bikes, they will stop and have a partnership with a company or a bike company really close, and you can go and do that. It's becoming a trend. Some of them will even have e-bikes now. So it's convenient, especially because the river cruise market tends to attract more of the Seasoned travelers, we'll call it, older. You won't see too many families with little kids on it. Specifically, some companies like Viking will only allow kids over 12. Some of them will be like over 16. Some are very family friendly, and some you will see even Adventures by Disney. They partnered with AMA on specific cruises, and it will be more family friendly. But in general, it tends to be more adult oriented. I would say 60 and up. It really depends on the cruise. It depends on the destination and the part of the river that you're going to. So where can you find river cruises, right? For the most part, it's in Europe, right? But it's not only in Europe. The main rivers, of course, are the Danube, which is huge, and you can cruise the Danube several times without even repeating the same destination. You can go upstream or downstream. It depends on which direction you want to go. You of course can go and do the Rhine, you can do the Po, you can do the Bordeaux. There's so many options in Europe, in France, in Italy, in Germany. So there are several options. There's in Portugal. You can find a lot of options in Europe. And for the most part, the main season of the river cruises in that part of the world would be early May to October. Cruises normally actually start in March, end of March normally. And some ships continue and do what we call the Christmas markets. So you will see them in mostly Eastern Europe, and you'll see a lot of November, December cruises. It's a whole different experience. If we talked about the river cruises in general, having an older clientele, this would be even older. And it's a very, again, specific market, but it's people are liking it. Again, it depends. It's the cold. You have to like that concept, but it is quite popular. There are other places around the world where you can do river cruises. The Mekong River in East Asia, Vietnam, you can river cruise there. You have the Nile in Egypt, that's considered North Africa. And of course, you have here in the US, you have the Mississippi, you have the Columbia, Snake River, so Oregon. There's some cruises going up to Quebec City. You will find some cruise lines that are doing unique and different itineraries. Viking recently started cruising the Mississippi. You have America Queen lines, and you have the American Steamboat. So there are some products here in the US if you are interested. We've actually had quite a few on the Viking River, the Mississippi ship, and they're having tons of issues, but in general, people are very, very interested in the product. Now, in addition,
about that.
Yes, Bill, go ahead.
I've seen a lot of posts about the Mississippi cruises and that as the problems that they're having just because of the water levels and so forth. So, and maybe even some concerns about late minute cancellations by the cruise line. So what's been your experience with Viking when that happens? Are they pretty flexible with clients? Is it a good experience even if they have to cancel them? Or is it becoming a big, PR problem too?
All right, let's make I mean, there is a huge difference between the European market and the Mississippi. Mississippi is actually not really even operated by Viking. I'll touch on that, but let's talk about Europe, and let's talk about the levels of the rivers. Now, the difference between the cruise lines, right? They cruise in the ocean, water levels are never an issue. And in the rivers, it really depends on how good the winter was. If the winter was dry, or there's that time of year, and there's not a lot of water, in certain parts of the river, right? If you go to the Danube, if you do the standard going from Budapest to Vienna, where the Danube is wide and there's a big stream, you will the most likely will not have any issues with water levels. There are some areas that are more prone to having lower water levels. Some companies like Viking that have massive amount of ships going up and down the river, and the ships are technically identical. What they will do if there are issues, the way that the river cruise works, assuming this is the river and the one in the line in the middle is the lock. The way that it works for a ship to go from one place to another, the lock closes, the ship goes into the lock, the water goes up and down, they pour water in, and then the water level rises and the ship continues to the other side. Same as the Panama Canal, that's how the canal works. So the way that it works with Viking, when they have issues with water levels, what they will do is they will actually stop just before the lock, and then an identical ship is going to be there as well. What they'll do is they'll shift, they'll switch. People will get off the ship in the morning, and when they board the ship in the afternoon, they will board the other ship, and then the ships will go on the other side. So that happens quite a bit if there are issues. Of course, it's not specifically where the canal is, but if they find out that it's, let's say, 5 to 10 kilometers or 15 kilometers, and there's an issue in that part of the river, they will stop, because most everyone goes out on a trip. They'll clear both ships, they'll switch the luggage, and you'll just continue toward the other side. So I found that when there are a lot of issues, specific companies that have a lot of ships and similar ships like Viking are actually dealing with it pretty good. We've also had issues in the past with a few ships hitting the locks. If there's a problem with the lock, if the lock doesn't engage or open and you need to bring someone, and sometimes it's over the weekend and they can't fix it, that's a solution that the river cruise lines have found out. Again, with other companies where the ships are different, when one is larger and the one is smaller, it can't be done. Some cruise lines, I've had a situation with Uniworld where we've had an issue with one of the locks. We couldn't pass it. We started doing the tours by bus, and then when it got a little longer and you couldn't really do it, they bussed us to Vienna. We stayed 3 nights at Vienna and then continue it from there. So they compensated, whether it was a partial refund or a full refund or an invitation for another cruise. They will try and work with you as much as possible. The higher the luxury or the more you pay, the more likely that you will get more compensation. So if you have clients that are worried about it and it seems like it's an issue, if they've never cruised before, I would probably recommend staying on the Danube, staying in the main sections, not going too far off. If you'll take a look at the map, I've done some from Wilshofen in Germany all the way to Budapest, and I've done Budapest to Vienna, and I have done Budapest to Bucharest. So you can pretty much continue. I've done 3 river cruises on the Danube, and they were all different. So you can always do a portion, and for the most part, the Danube is pretty safe in terms of water level because it's so wide, and they do have a lot of water in there. I hope I answered your question. And then for Viking, Mississippi, we talked about it a little bit when we did the ocean cruise lines. There is still an issue with something that is called the Jones Act. The Viking's technically not a U.S. company. The ship wasn't built in the U.S. It's technically not supposed to and cannot operate a domestic cruise. But in this specific situation, it's another company that actually owns the ship. The employees are not Viking employees. It's a workaround that they found. So it's an issue. And also there's only one ship. So and they have staffing issues. So a lot of the cruises that are being canceled right now for the Mississippi are because of staffing issues. They can only do 60%, 70% of the ship. That's why they're canceling a lot of cruises. And again, with water levels, it's not like they can switch ships because that's the only ship that they have. So it's a very popular market, but it has issues. It still has issues. It's their first year. Hopefully next year is going to be better. Now, one more difference, of course, between the river cruise and an ocean. If you've cruised in the ocean, you will know that if you stop in Rome, you haven't really stopped in Rome. You have an hour and a half drive. If you stopped in a lot of the places, if you stop in Puerto Plata, if you stop in a lot of these places, Costa Maya, it's a port area. It's commercialized. It's not really. You have to drive somewhere to actually get to the main town. Alaska, I would say, is pretty much similar to a river cruise, because with a river cruise, you stop in the middle of town. You literally stop in the middle of town. You can just walk off and enjoy the ship. You open the window. Just be careful when you open up in the morning and you're not fully dressed. There are people looking at you because you're at street level. You are looking at people looking at you on the street level. It's unique. It's an experience. It's convenient. You step off the ship, maybe take the bikes, and you're in the middle. There's no wasting time. These ships are so small. They can enter pretty much anywhere and everywhere. It's very, very convenient. It saves a lot of time. Sometimes you will see that there are 2 and even 3 stops for the day. The ship kind of moves 10 miles, continuing 5, 10 miles, and then you have the next town over. You'll do another excursions. Sometimes you will actually, they'll get off the ship, go on a tour. The ship will move, relocate maybe 10, 20 miles off, and the bus will just meet it at the other direction. It's, again, very, very convenient, very, very efficient. If the cruise industry on the oceans, it's more about the ship and the water slides and the entertainment and the whatever. On a river cruise is totally different. It's, for the most part, it's a means to get you to the destination, to enjoy the destination. The ship is a place where you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's not much on ships. Some of the ships will have a very small pool, a hot tub. Some of them will have maybe a spa, a small room that serves as a spa. Some will have a very, very small gym, but for the most part, there's not much to do on the ship except breakfast, lunch, dinner. Some people sit on the top deck and just chill a little bit and enjoy the scenery while you river cruise. But when the ship stops, the ship is empty. Everyone leaves, everyone goes on the excursions. Remember, they're all included. One of the differences, again, besides the trips, is the capacity, the amount of people that are on the ship, right? We've talked about staff to people, like to guest ratio. Viking, for example, will have about 280 people on the ship, while on a Uniworld ship, you will see maybe 90, 116. So the rooms are bigger. You might have options for suites. You might have options for other things that are not available on, let's say, Viking, like specialty dining, a secondary restaurant or something like that. And you will see it on the more expensive options or the more expensive lines. Viking is certainly one of the more popular. The TV shows that have pushed Viking and the commercial that they are doing. A lot of people, when you mention a river cruise, they automatically think of Viking. The ships are not bad at all. They actually look quite modern. I've toured a few. I haven't cruised on Viking, but I've toured a few of the ships. The main advantage is that once you've seen one ship, pretty much seen them all. They're all on the same mall. They're all about the same. The long ships are pretty much the same. There's not much. You don't have too many options there because it has to be a certain wide, it has to be a certain width, it has to be a certain length to cross the locks. the ship can't be too big. There are some exceptions to the rules. AMA Waterways in 2016 christened the AMA Magna, which is double wide. Again, it can only operate in specific areas of the Danube, but it's literally double the width of a regular ship. They have multiple kitchens. It's a very, very, we'll call it, if you're considering a family and you want a little more from your ship, then this specific ship with ABBA could be very interesting. I highly recommend that you search some YouTube videos. I was on the ship as they were building it in 2019. We got to see how and what they're doing. The ship is very, very different in terms of what it has to offer. It's also a more expensive option. River cruises in general, again, tend to be more expensive than ocean liner because you have less people, because the tours are included, because the wine and beer and all of that is also included. So that tends to get more expensive. There were a few trials for I don't know if you guys remember You by Uniworld. It's a brand that doesn't really exist anymore. You was a Uniworld product geared towards young people, where it was really bare bottom. Like there's not much on the ship. The ships were like very modern, black and white kind of thing, but it didn't really catch up. But so again, it's still geared towards an older crowd. Again, I can tell you that from the cruises that I've done, I personally enjoyed it. I'm not the target demographics for a river cruise, but it seems like the ages are going down, like the average age is going down throughout the years. And especially I think COVID, people want not the mega ships. They want something that is a little more exclusive, a little more smaller groups, smaller options. So that tends to be quite popular. Again, unfortunately, we have the issues with the levels of the water that we can't do much about it. Any questions? Anyone had any specific issues, problems, or interest in specific cruises? Okay. Cruises in Europe tends to have some like we'll call it features in specific areas, like in Italy, like in France, where they do a lot of connoisseur trips. So if people are more into wine, we've done some truffle hunting. You go with dogs and you find truffles and then you cook it later. At night they might stop at like a local bar. They'll do some beer tasting and wine tasting. It's a lot. It's more, if people are looking for something that is more immersive in the destination, what they'll also do, since again the ship is small, it's not like they can do a Broadway show. And in the evenings, they will bring local people, whether it's I've seen some, they brought some kids on board to dance the native or the old-fashioned dancing. They'll bring singers or a singer or a group or musicians. They'll bring local people that are familiar, of course, with the destination. They'll talk about the history. Every day, the way that it works, in the morning or the night before, they will have a discussion about the next destinations and the next stop. They will offer all the tours. You can then go and sign up for these specific tours that again are included. So you have to sign up. Some will allow you to book them in advance, but for the most part, there's not much of an issue. You should be able to get almost anything that you want while on the ship. Again, if you have specific clients that really want something in advance, some of the tours can be pre-booked. Most of them, again, will be booked while on the ship. Something with tips and gratuities, with most of the lines, they won't be included. I think AMA, with AMA Waterways, it is included the gratuities. They also maybe request a little more for if there's a cruise director. Cruise director on a river ship is again really different than ocean. A good cruise director you will see everywhere. While you're going on an excursion, you will see him, I don't know, giving away candy or bringing some stuff in. They'll arrange a few things off the ship, on the ship. It seems like a I don't know how to call it, maybe like a family for the week, right? It's really different versus a really big ocean liner where you have hundreds and hundreds of people versus, a select small group of staff for, for 100 people or 150 people. So that tends to be very different. Most of you guys are with the consortia, right? Signature, some are not, but let's say a lot of the consortias have specific perks and unique options to offer to your clients. For example, AMA Waterways, you will be able to offer $300 per couple onboard credit. Similar with Uniworld, there's some discounts, there are options. So the amenities that the consortias offer tends to be on the more luxury product, and a river cruise in general is considered a luxury product. So you will see onboard credit discounts on pretty much everything. Viking, Uniworld, AMA, Avalon. If you are booking, you don't have to book it with the consortia, but if you book it and then reach out to the supplier, make sure that they're aware that you're part of Signature, Travel Leaders, Ensemble, all of that, they will give you your clients the onboard credit, sometimes extra bottle of wine. If you have clients that have the American Express Platinum, it's also covers most of the river cruise. Again, remember, this is considered a luxury, a high-end product. They will also get extras. I've had river cruise clients with $600 to $1,000 onboard credit. There's not a lot to use it on the ship unless you're looking for, again, the special excursions that are not included, maybe spa. They will allow you to purchase stuff on the ship. They do have like a gift shop, so you can utilize the OBC at the gift shop itself. But yeah, there's not much to use it on the ship if you're going again with the higher end where the alcohol is included and everything's included. But it still, I guess, feels better for the clients to experience that. A lot of the river cruises will do a pre and a post as options. That can sometimes be covered by OBC, depending on the line. But you'll find that a lot of people, they don't want to cruise to Europe. They don't want to fly to Europe just for a 7-night. So a lot of people do pre and post. There's some programs with the cruise lines themselves where they offer pre and post and extensions. And you can do it separately as well. Some promotions out there include free air to the destination. Viking has a lot of free air options, and in general with the river cruises, again, depending on the company and the promotions, but a lot of them are non-refundable. It's Viking will even go further and request final payment like a year in advance, or sometimes even more. Uniworld offer 10% discount if you prepay it in advance. They would like the commitment from the client. Remember, it's a very small ship. They can't allow 100 people to book and then change their mind. They're looking for the commitment. The commitment is good for you as well as the travel professional, because once clients are booked and they're within penalty and they don't get their money back, some again will allow you to maybe switch it to a future cruise, or change the dates. But for the most part, most of the deposits are non-refundable. So that's something to understand and know. There are specific products out there for river cruise groups, and they are much more flexible than ocean liner. You could get one free for every 5 cabins, sometimes even 3 cabins, and you'll get one free. There are a lot of options out there. I know a few agents are doing charters. Again, depends on the size of the ship and how many clients you have, but it's a good market if you have the clientele for it. We've done pre-season cruises, which tend to be fairly cheap. Pre-season, I would say it's end of March, beginning of April, and then October before they switch towards the Christmas markets. That's where you'll see a lot of the really good prices out there. I know if you guys are interested, last year was the first River Cruise Convention conference. I think it was Asta who's sponsored it, or there was the main person who organized it, and that was in Budapest this March that came up, and they're going to do another one. If you are interested in something, I would take a look, because I know it's sold out like months before. So consider, you can go, you can meet up with a lot of the suppliers. They did a lot of posts with cruises. The way that is different on the river cruises, you will actually see them stacked together. You will see one Uniworld ship next to a Viking ship, next to an AMA ship, and if you want to get to that AMA ship, you have to go through the other ships. So you literally cross. We've done some ship inspections that way, where you had to pass through another ship to get there. So it's actually very unique. But if you are in Europe and you want to focus on this specific market, and remember, this is a luxurious market. The average commissions are with commas. It's $1,000 commission is very common for a river cruise. You will probably see $2,000 and $3,000 commissions if you have a lot of clients for it. Yes, Karen.
Roy, I'm pretty sure that it is Asta, and they are doing it again in the spring, because at that Caribbean showcase, they were promoting it and people were signing up for it there at that event. So definitely, if someone's interested, they should go to the Asta site.
Yeah, they probably have a price for if you're a member or if you're not a member. But I know, because we had an event right after that. I didn't. A lot of agents did attend it. River cruises is not my main focus, but again, a lot attended, a lot enjoyed it. It's a very interesting niche. Again, a profitable niche, even from cabin one. So I highly encourage that you look at it if you think you have the market for it. I know a lot of people are interested in. Any more questions or something about the river cruise concept? Okay. With some of the lines, if you do have requests for suites, if you want to take a look between the differences, there is a website that is called well, first of all, there's training. Almost all the cruise lines offer training. AMA Waterways, Scenic, Emerald, I saw Tauk, I saw Uniworld, Viking. They all have a training program. So I highly encourage that you go. Some of them are on Travel Agent Academy, some are on Travel Agent University, and some are on the actual website. Do the training. Get familiarized with the product and what is out there. If you have people that are, they like wine, they might be interested in a specific cruise, you can reach out to your BDM, try and arrange a small group, take a look at what Signature has to offer. They have a lot of hosted cruises. and you can actually consider being a host on some of these cruises, especially if your consortia offers it. Okay. And again, the unique ones that we kind of talked about, of course, in the Nile, you'll see 3 to 7 night cruises in Egypt, combining land and river. You will see the same in the Mekong River. You'll see, 3 to 7 nights. It depends. Sometimes it's like a short, just to get into places that you can't get to by driving, and some it's a whole, it's a whole experience. Okay, let me stop the recording and we'll go into a few questions or something. Let me just see.